Welcome to All the Bright Things, the Prairie Art Brothers podcast about living the creative life in Central Nebraska.
Our guest, Matt Mason, an internationally recognized poet, is serving as the Nebraska State Poet from 2019 through 2024. He also administers several poetry organizations and projects that serve the entire state of Nebraska. He currently has 3 collections of published poetry: Things We Don't Know, 2006, The Baby That Ate Cincinnati, 2013, and At the Corner of Fantasy and Maine, Disneyland, Midlife, and Churros, 2022. He lives in Omaha with his wife, poet Sarah McKinstry Brown, and their 2 daughters. Welcome to All the Bright Things, Matt. What got you started as a writer?
You know, when I started writing, I knew it made my life better. I made, writing poems helps me analyze the world, helps me make sense of what's going on with me and around me. And so whether I am going to, from there, go on to become a successful author or not, at least I know I want to write. At least I know I will write. I'm lucky in that I do have books out and people do read them. But there's no guarantee, and we can't ever be so indignant when we fail that we storm against the universe or the people in it. It's a matter of time and luck and finding the right ears or the right eyes. I'm surprised that ever happened for me, because I think for a long time it seemed like it never would, but I still enjoyed what I was doing. I still love writing. I still love, going to open mics and sharing my poetry and listening to other people. And I think as long as we can enjoy the journey of it, we'll find a way. I think if it becomes too much work, then I don't know what to tell you. I mean, sometimes it did feel like too much work, but ultimately I come back to writing because I kind of have to. So what, successful or not, it's kind of just one of those things that I have to do.
And what does it mean to be successful as a writer?
I mean, I think you're successful as a writer if you write things that are meaningful. And I put a period there. It doesn't mean being Emily Dickinson, except Emily Dickinson. The fact that I've written poems that shine light on my life and the things around me and the people around me and help me explore all kinds of different situations and people and just make the world make sense to me means I'm successful, whether I have a book out or not. I've used my writing successfully to make my life better. And so that's my definition. I think everybody's definition is going to be a little bit different. You have to find it through your own art form and how you're handling it.
And I when I think of success, the monetary part comes up. That so often that's how, in the society, that's how we measure success. And in the arts, leading a creative life, I think, means that's not a valid way of measuring it.
That's the thing with poetry. The fact is, for whatever reason, it's poetry that speaks to me, that spoke to me, that really engaged me creatively. I didn't choose poetry. It's just the thing that works for me. So having done it for years, I have to acknowledge that if you go into poetry for the money or the power, you're an idiot. You're just not right. You really need to sit yourself down and find another plan. So for me, I mean, the success in poetry is, money can play in, but it does not have to. Because for the most part, it doesn't. I mean,
sure.
I think early on, I actually got lucky. I tied for first place in a food poetry contest, and I won I think split the prize of $500. So $250 for a poem. And that didn't happen again, possibly ever. I can't think of another poem that got me, just one poem that, netted me money like that. Success in poetry, I think, is not about money. You can have success through poetry that gives you money, but success in poetry is about writing words that matter to you, that change your life, that change your perception, and then also that people react to, or that people respond to, that touch people. So there's different levels, I think, of success in the arts. And I think in some cultures, money is a bigger part of it. And I wish that were true here, because that shows, the values of communities and governments and societies is that they reward you with things. That's kind of the human way. And in some cultures they do. I've been in other countries where, they'll be quoting poetry in bars, and there'll be statues of poets. And though Kearney does have a statue of a poet, so you've got something going in this town that I'm in right now. But that's rare. I would love to see poetry more in the public eye and more rewarded, but that's not going to change how I do it or why I do it, though. So it'd be a nice perk. But
so if you want to live the creative life, how do you overcome the fear of failing at it?
I think if you really want to live creatively, you will fail. There are aspects you will fail at, and you kind of have to handle things positively as much as is possible, and not put yourself at risk, not put the people around you at risk, but just do what you can do.
I worked at a summer camp, and we had international counselors, and I found myself going out to eat on a day off with these probably a dozen international counselors. And I asked everyone to recite a poem in their language.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I couldn't understand it, but to see what they value, they could recite this by themselves.
Yeah.
Without any prompting, the value that they held on it. It was a really powerful moment.
I bet.
It would have been better if I could tell what they were talking about.
But still, I love poems in other languages. To just hear the rhythm and the inflection, and it's you may be completely wrong in your interpretation, but you get an interpretation. So.
That's true.
We recorded this interview on March 8th, 2022. All the Bright Things is produced and copyrighted by the Prairie Art Brothers and presented with the support of the Kearney Area Community Foundation.
Okay, perfect. Let's see if it worked.